This is my 37th convention, and our game is changing, but it's never been more popular. So we've got to fight for this game. We got to fight so that it'll continue to be the great game that we love. I'm encouraging you to support this organization, American Football Coaches Association, what it's become, the thousands of members, and support this organization along with your state and local organizations, the coaching organizations, so we can continue to grow the game and have a place for coaches to fellowship and learn and develop. And so I close again by just saying what an honor it is to be here, to be in front of this crowd. Coaches, my heroes. Thanks again to the American Football Coaches Association for the honor to be here today. I wish you great luck with all of your teams, and beat Navy.
Welcome to Inside the Headset, presented by CoachCom. Each episode pulls back the curtain on the coaching profession, spotlighting voices from every level of the game and offering lessons and insights for your own path. But first, a word from CoachCom.
When the game's on the line, your play call can mean the difference between winning and losing. Don't let poor communication cost you the game. For 35 years, CoachCom has been the trusted leader in coaching communication, delivering solutions with unmatched sound quality, performance, and durability. That's why thousands of coaches in high schools across the country trust CoachCom. You put in the hours to prepare. Make sure your communication delivers when it counts. CoachCom, giving coaches the ultimate competitive edge. Visit CoachCom.com to learn more.
Follow Inside the Headset on your favorite podcast platform and subscribe to our YouTube channel for exclusive content. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a like and leave a review. It really helps others discover the show. We drop new episodes each week, so hit that follow button and never miss a moment. Now, let's get inside the headset.
Thank you so much. Thanks to the AFCA and to our Executive Director, Craig Bowl, my great friend. He introduced that just like I told him. He read the script perfectly, saying those nice things about me. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. I'm going to use some notes up here. I'm a PE major from Millikan University, so to stand up here for 45 minutes with memorization, that's a gift, and I've seen people do it. I'm not one of those that can, so if you'll indulge me and let me use some notes, I'm so excited to share with you. Thanks for all that everybody does here. We've all got different roles in football, and appreciate what you do, our coaches. Thanks to our team, the Army team, our staff, the United States Military Academy, and the United States Military Academy at West Point, and particularly the over 1 million men and women that serve in the United States Army, that we represent as Army Black Knights. It's an honor and privilege for me to represent our institution, the Long Gray Line, and our United States Army. The next generation of soldiers will be led by West Point graduates. So what an honor and privilege it is for me to be the head coach at West Point. And I'm honored and humbled to be here. I've been coming to this convention for a long time, and to be here and to be in this room with you, with these coaches, my heroes as I was growing up were coaches. It's just a privilege to be here. And I've always enjoyed the convention for the fellowship. It's fun to get to see friends and coaches you compete against, coaches you've competed with, and time to socialize and all those things. And so I appreciate you taking the time to be here tonight when you could be other places. And so since you are here and joining us, I'll do my best to get you back out there with all your comrades and to be able to socialize. So as Liz Taylor told her 7 husbands, I won't be keeping you long. Doug Niebuhr was my position coach at Millikan. Millikan's in Decatur, Illinois. I was told they call it vacator because it's always a vacation when you go to Decatur. And the person that told me that, I made sure I wrote him a note when I got to Decatur and told him I thought he was a little bit off. But Doug Niebuhr and Sam Trustner, our equipment manager, brought me to my first convention in 1989. I was a senior in college, And I had the mission to find myself a GA job. I wanted to get into college coaching, and so they said, get in the back of the car. I slept on the floor in a hotel room and made the all-lobby team. But I met Bo Schembechler, Bobby Bowden, Eddie Robinson, Vince Dooley, Johnny Majors. These are legends. They were legends then, and they're legends now. And I was in awe. But I also met a guy named Buzz Preston. He was the receivers coach at the University of Hawaii at the time. I ended up getting my first job at the University of Hawaii because Buzz was familiar with my family and was able to convince Coach Wagner to hire me. And so, as I said, I grew up a coach's kid. I was a gym rat, fixing helmets and passing out equipment and mixing Gatorade and all those things that coaches' kids do, riding on the school bus to the games. And I never wanted to do anything else but coach. So I'm so honored to be here and be at this podium because I love this game and I believe in this game. I believe in what it does for the people that play it. Football has consumed my life. I've been really fortunate to work with some great coaches and some great men. My dad was my high school coach. His 4 brothers were all high school football coaches in the state of Illinois while I was growing up. There are now 7 of us who are sons of those 5 brothers who are in coaching. And so I've been greatly influenced by this game. Carl Pelker was my coach at Millikan University. Bob Wagner was my first head coach as a graduate assistant at the University of Hawaii. Larry Marmee at Arizona State. And Hall of Fame coach Paul Johnson, who was my boss for 13 years. These are the mentors and the craftsmen that really shaped my career and my leadership style. So I feel incredibly blessed to have grown up like I did and to be a coach. The superintendent that hired me at West Point, Lieutenant General Bob Caslin, he's an infantryman, he's a West Point graduate, and he's a former center on the Army football team. He always talked about the importance of living and leading honorably. And he was we were together for the first 4 years. He hired me there, and I had the great pleasure of working under his leadership at West Point. You know, we all have a choice to live and lead honorably. And I believe we honor the game of football by the way we lead our teams. And General Cassim's commitment to that, to always doing what was right, it really had a profound impact on me because you consider in everything that you do to live and lead honorably. And he was an example of that to us. And, you know, one of the things Coach Bowl and I have had a great relationship and a friendship for many years. We faced off in the FCS playoffs. He was the head coach at North Dakota State. I was the head coach at Georgia Southern. And you know, just before the game, you go make small talk with the other coaches. And my dad happened to be there, and I introduced my dad to Craig. And he said, you know, what do you like about your job? I said, you know, I really enjoy the opportunity to lead. He said, you know what, you and I should talk. And I really do. I enjoy the opportunity and the obligation that I have to lead and serve people. That's what I enjoy most about the job. Leadership and leading and serving people applies to all of us in this profession. Head coaches, assistant coaches, high school coaches, youth coaches, aspiring coaches. Effective leaders share many of the same qualities that make them good at what they do. And I study leadership. Coaches like Lou Holtz, Tony Dungy, other leadership people like John Gruden, Pat Williams, who's an NBA Hall of Famer and a co-founder of the Orlando Magic. He's written over 100 books. He's incredible in talking about leadership. And many of the things I'm going to talk about are drawn from these men. Pat Williams, I've heard him speak many times, and John Maxwell, leadership books, and the many authors of the Bible, which is still the best leadership book in the world. The first thing that I think that effective leaders share is a vision. We got to have a vision. Leaders have a vision, and it has to be theirs. It can't be somebody else. It can't be somebody else's idea, or they can't say, hey, I envision this for the organization or the company or or your football program, and we say, okay, well, I'll make that my vision. We got to have a vision. And it's a vision that we've got to be enthusiastic about and excited about, because if we're not, then nobody else in our organization is going to be enthusiastic about it either. One of my favorite quotes, so Vince Lombardi, maybe one of the most famous coaches ever, was an assistant coach for the legendary Red Blake at West Point. And Vince had a quote that I read many years ago, and I've repeated this quote many times. If you're not fired with enthusiasm, you'll be fired with enthusiasm. So I've had to remind people of that sometimes. Our players have heard me say it enough that they can repeat it. West Point has a vision that we're enthusiastic about, and I want you to read this mission statement. West Point seeks to educate, train, and inspire our Corps of Cadets to be commissioned leaders of character, committed to the Army values of loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. We could all build great teams off of this mission. Successful teams. This would teach the values that we strive to teach in all of our programs. Let me tell you a little bit about West Point. There's 4,400 cadets at West Point, 4,400 students, all of whom have made a pledge of commitment to serve our nation. And I promise you there's places that they could go to school that are a lot easier. They don't have to study as much. There's no professional standards. They don't have to cut their hair, shave their face, clean their room, get up on a Saturday morning for physical training, up every morning for inspection. It's not easy. But they make this pledge willingly, voluntarily. They're incredible young people. And so to be there and to be a part of this institution is awesome. It's inspiring. A vision. West Point's got a vision. I want our players and our coaches and our staff to have an extraordinary experience in college football. That's my vision for our program. I want our teams to value trust, commitment, and love. I want to win all of our games. I want to create winners on and off the field and equip the people that are in our program with the tools that they need to live a life as servant leaders. My vision. And I think it all ties into the West Point mission, but that's not something I developed off of the West Point mission. It's just what I believe in and I'm enthusiastic about. At West Point, there are 3 core values that support our mission, our vision and our mission: duty, honor, and country. General MacArthur, who spoke to the Corps of Cadets, 1962, he's accepting the Thayer Award, called these hallowed words. Hallowed words. If you need a dose of patriotism, toughness, teamwork, confidence, hope, I encourage you to listen to or read that speech. It's all in there. And I believe the mission that we have at West Point and the vision that I have for our program are aligned. They're directly aligned with duty, honor, country. Trust, commitment, love. Those are the core values of our program. Can I trust you? Are you committed to excellence? Do you care about me? Can I trust you enough to do your duty? Are you committed to excellence? Are you committed to doing it with honor and do it the right way? And do you care about the others in the organization? Do you care about the brand more than you care about yourself? Love for country. Leaders have a vision. Leaders have integrity. Norman Schwarzkopf, another great Army general, said, if you have to make a choice between strategy and character, do without strategy. Having integrity means that I have responsibility. More than that, an obligation to live with honor and integrity as the leader. And we all need to evaluate what our job is. If I asked in the lobby out here, and hey, where are you from? What school you coach at? What's your job? I coach the DBs. I coach the O-line. I recruit Texas. I recruit North Carolina. I handle the punt team. I'm in charge of team travel. What's our real job? And understanding that, I think, is in direct relation to who we're responsible to and who we serve. Our families, our players, our fellow teachers and coaches, the school, the alums, the fans. Leaders of character teach that honoring commitment, having self-discipline, valuing a hard day's work, doing hard things, building a shelter for a rainy day, those are all critical for a fulfilled life. That's our job. We can coach the DBs and coach the running backs and recruit Texas and handle the punt team and take care of team travel and whatever our other jobs are. But this is our job as a leader. Leaders of character put these things in place of value in their organization above performance-based goals, strategy, and character. So we have an opportunity to teach these lessons even while we're teaching blocking and tackling. Having integrity as a leader means being honest. I don't know why we have so much trouble sometimes as human beings telling the truth. It's uncomfortable. It hurts people's feelings. We worry about how it's going to affect us if we tell somebody the truth. Being honest establishes trust. And if we value the truth, we want other people to tell us the truth. Why don't we just do that with other people? It's important we do that as leaders. We get put in uncomfortable positions as leaders. And we have to be comfortable telling people the truth. And most people can handle it if you just tell them. Integrity means showing humility. Effective leaders give the credit away, and they take more of the blame than they deserve. Praise the effort, praise the performance of your team and your organization publicly. Accept the criticism for the losses publicly. And then you can deal with the failure, the fallout of the failure behind closed doors. That's showing character and integrity, and we all get put in that position at times. The sooner we realize, and I think this is something as aspiring head coach as I was coming up and as an assistant coach, I always thought the pinnacle was to be the head coach. I always wanted to be a head coach. But you realize once you get there that life's going to go on without me. And I really need the people in the organization and our coaches and staff, and I need our players way more than they need me. And the sooner I realized that as a coach, then it was easier for me to submit to the humility I needed to have as the head coach. Humble leaders ask for input. And we can be self-centered and egotistical. And it's particularly easy to do that as head coach because a lot of people come and they shake their head like a car dog. You know, those dogs in the back of the car that when you hit a bump, it just does this. Sometimes you feel like the head coach, that's what everybody's doing. They're just shaking their head. Getting other people's input's important. And realizing that others are observing the same things that we're seeing from a different perspective and may have a valuable thought or opinion is important. Good leaders delegate authority and they let others make decisions. It's okay for others to be right. That's healthy for the culture. You know, I was a new head coach at Georgia Southern. I asked Richard Bell. So Richard Bell's a legendary coach. Many of you may know him. Just a revered defensive coordinator. Lots of big schools on his resume. And I asked if he'd come interview for a position on our staff. And he agreed. And during our meeting, one of the things he said to me, we were talking about how to build a program and how to treat people. And he said, I don't care who's right. I just want to do what's right. I don't care who's right. I just want to do what's right. Yeah, that stuck with me. He shared a lot of wisdom that day, but that was one of the things that I really remember that he said, and I continue to use it. So what Coach Bell said in that meeting, I think really speaks to the integrity that we need to have as leaders and as coaches. Good leaders have a vision and they have integrity. And good leaders know how to communicate. Good leaders are good at the art of listening. We forget, I forget, that listening is a way to communicate, the most important way to communicate. I struggle with this skill. My wife would agree with that statement. She's been telling me for years I need to listen better. But much wisdom is gained by listening. So I'm going to tell you about a practice that we have as a staff. And this is something we started at Army. And I think this is a good practice for coaches in general. It's good for me as a father to do this. But I ask our coaches and our staff, there's about 25 of us, coaches, support staff, recruiting, operations, etc. Find 3 players a day and have a 60-second intentional conversation with that player. That's 3 minutes of your day. Everybody's got 3 minutes. We got busy lives, we got a lot of stuff going, but everybody can find 3 minutes. So if we do that every day, that's 75 players that we touch every day. And it's just an opportunity for us to listen, to talk with them, not talk to them, to talk with them, to ask questions and to listen. We find a pulse of the team. We find out if they got things going on, how we can support and help them. I find this to be perhaps maybe one of the most important things we do is taking that time. It's not football stuff. It's just life stuff. So listen. Good leaders are visible and available. Be seen in every area where your players are. Without saying a word, it communicates that what's happening there is important. Position meetings, the strength and conditioning, a workout's going on, the training room if they're in there with the trainers. I like to talk to players and coaches in those areas, and I like to talk to them on their turf. So if there's a player that I need to address or approach, I catch them in the weight room before the workout, or I catch them to encourage them, or I catch them in the weight room afterwards to talk about something that maybe I think he could improve on, or on the practice field before or after. I'll go and sit down in the locker next to him after practice and just spend some time talking with him. Rather than him coming to my office like he's coming to the principal's office, which is what it feels like, I spend some time with them. If I want to talk to a coach, get an idea, or talk to a coach about an area where I feel like they can improve, I try to go to their office. It's their turf. They're more comfortable there. And when I go there and I want an idea, it tells them I'm really interested in what you have to share. Not come to my office and let's talk about it. And I think meeting them where they are is an important part of leadership. Effective leaders have people skills. They invest in people and they talk. We've got to be able to talk. That's the way we can inspire others. Lead by example, certainly, but we have to talk and inspire people. It's our job with our words and actions. In Army, we don't have NIL or revenue sharing. So there won't be many coaches that'll stand up here and tell you that. But we have to invest in relationship capital. We have to do this because there's always going to be somebody else with more money. We don't have money to offer. So, it's not all about the money. Although I did hear Nick Saban say one time that you can say it's not always all about the money, but it's always all about the money. Saban. But we do invest in our players. We have to, the relationships, and I think our guys, unbeknownst to a lot of people, our players as freshmen and sophomores can leave at any time. It's not until they start classes their junior year that they're affirmed and really have made that commitment. So we do a remarkable job. Our staff does a remarkable job of really retaining our players, but it's all through relationships. And we still have the opportunity to build relationships and make our organization a place that people want to be part of because it's special. They feel loved. They feel like they can maximize their potential. And that doesn't cost any money. It just requires capital of a different kind, and that's time and investment. Good leaders practice clear and concise communication. They say what they mean and they mean what they say. And this is something that I really try to remind our coaches of. Our teams want to be well led, so we should tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. We as coaches have a really bad habit of saying, oh, that's not bad, or that's pretty good. I had to break myself of that habit. Not bad. Well, what's that mean? It's not clear and concise. Does that mean it's good? Does that mean it's average? I could do better? Not bad isn't any critique. Be clear and concise. What are you thinking? What are you doing? Well, what I'm thinking is, you're a jerk because you're not telling me how to get better. What am I doing? I'm doing exactly what I think you told me to do. So be clear and concise. Take a jab step at an angle to the right. Okay. How far do I step? What's the angle of that step? Clear and concise. Be early. What time is that? What time is early? Is early 6 a.m.? Is early 7? Is early just before the meeting? Be clear and concise. I want our coaches to coach our team with clear and concise communication. Give them feedback on every single rep and tell them exactly what they did that was good. Tell them exactly what they did that needs to improve. So effective leaders have a vision. They lead honorably with integrity, and they communicate. They're also competent. They're good at what they do. Effective leaders become experts at their trade. So this speaks to us, to become experts at what we do. Leaders solve problems. They both have immediate solutions. This is where Saturday afternoons come in. We go back on Sunday. We got all the answers on Sunday. Our players need solutions on Saturday afternoon. Sometimes those are the problems we got to solve. Sometimes there are discerned decisions that need to be made. So well thought out when matters requiring that discernment are in order. Competent leaders recruit, retain, and develop talent. They can spot talent. They recognize the type of individual needed to help the organization succeed. So recruit the talent needed to the organization, recruiting players, in our case, hiring coaches as a head coach, hiring support staff members, retaining those individuals, keeping them in the program, keeping them in the organization, creating a culture that individuals want to be a part of. Urban Meyer described his job when somebody asked him, what's your real job as a head coach? Procure talent and drive culture. So true. And I use that line all the time. That's my job, to get the very best people we can in the organization and drive the culture of the program. Competent leaders build trust through honesty and communication. And some of the things we've already discussed. But people want to be a part of something special. And they have a power to create a culture, a positive culture, because of who they are and how they treat people. Craig Bowles said something to me once when we were discussing team building and program building. Coach and I have shared a lot of time together, and he's a trusted confidant and a great friend. He said, players play hard for coaches they trust and believe in. Man, that hit me like a brick. Players play hard for coaches they trust and believe in. So getting our players to trust us and believe in us encompasses a lot of things. But if they don't trust me and they don't believe in me, they're not going to play their hardest for me. So competent leaders will prepare themselves so that we have the knowledge, the expertise, and we invest in our people so that they do trust us and they know what we're talking about. Leaders develop their people. They're great teachers. They know their stuff, and they have the ability to bring out the best in their students. As football coaches, consider the competency that's needed for our game. And it's a complex game. I look around our meeting room much like I'm looking around the room here. There are people of different expertises here. Offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, head coaches, recruiting experts, operations, kicking game. Some guys in this room are experts at teaching tackling. Some are in here are experts at teaching blocking fundamentals. All these things happen in our game. Think of the difference between an offensive lineman and a kicker, and the skill set and the body type and the workouts and all the differences between those guys. And that's our job as coaches. And a lot of the coaches sitting in this room have to coach multiple positions. They have to coach blocking and tackling, have to coach an offensive position and a defensive position. It's a lot of responsibility. So being competent. It's our job to become experts as coaches in every area possible. Our players are counting on us to do that, and we owe it to them. So leaders are good at building teams. It's still a team game, played by individuals, and they're playing our sport for a reason because they value team sports. If they didn't, they'd be on the golf team or the tennis team. Competent leaders are lifelong learners. They're educated. They use mentors. And speaking of mentors, for all the young coaches here, I was 21 years old when I came to my first convention, 22 years old when I took my first job. I didn't know anything. And we think we know a lot after we play. We don't know anything. I've got so much more to learn now. I've been doing this 37 years. I got so much more to learn now. So you young coaches, find these veteran coaches. Veteran coaches, help these young coaches. Let's mentor these young guys. And let's never stop learning. Read books, go to clinics, watch film. Those are all things that we can do to become competent. So competent leaders make it their business to be good at what they do. Effective leaders are an example. We have to be the example for our team, for our players. Live the vision of your culture. That the leader is the culture. He is the culture. He is the vision. What people see in the culture, they see the leader. And it may be you in your position room, coaching the defensive tackles. It may be in your English class that you teach, that you want to have people excited when they walk out of the hallway with their book bag. They're excited to be in there. You're the culture, you're the vision. Colonel Lee Van Arsdale, who is a West Point graduate, led the Delta Force unit into Somalia that is now known as Black Hawk Down. So you've seen the movie or read the book. He said that leaders must be the calm in the chaos. I listened to him speak at West Point. Calm in the chaos. I think about my responsibility as the head coach. I often fall really short on this, being the calm in the chaos, but we have to be. That means working hard to be good at your job, to be able to make good decisions. The leader has to work harder than anybody else. The leader has to love their people and invest in their people. Make their teams, the members of those teams, and their families their highest priority. Good leaders are the example of professionalism. Respect others, respect the profession, respect the game. They don't tolerate others who disrespect those things. They don't place blame. They don't make excuses. Good leaders support the decisions of the team. We're not all head coaches. We don't all have the final say. There's a lot of things I don't have the final say on. My wife's the head coach at home. I work for an athletic director and a superintendent or college president. But we got to support the decisions of the team. If that means how we're going to block the power, how we're going to defend a certain opponent, we're going to take this recruit over that recruit, the disciplinary action that we take with somebody in our program. We may not agree, but we support the decision. That's an example of professionalism. And being that example means that our players and fellow coaches see us in alignment with the program. And that's important. It's particularly important for our young people to see that. Leaders are an example of all that we want to teach. Honoring commitment, self-discipline, hard work, a moral compass. Leaders have a vision, they have integrity, they communicate, they're competent, they're example, and they're bold. General George Patton listed the golden rules of war, and we have these on in our staff rooms, the offensive staff room, defensive staff room. The golden rules of war: speed, simplicity, and boldness. Sounds a little bit like our offense. I don't know if we're real fast. Maybe the speed part doesn't apply to us very much, but we are simple. We're going to run the ball and be the best at it in the country. And we go for it on fourth down more than anybody in the country. Speed, simplicity, and boldness. Leaders have to be bold. Leaders have to have the courage to make tough choices that only they can make. All of us. We're all tasked with leadership, and sometimes we all got to make bold decisions. I've made some bold decisions in my career that have worked out. I've made some bold decisions in my career that didn't, that I'd like to have back. But only I get to make those, and I got to live with both of them. Leaders set and maintain standards to meet expectations. There's a saying that we use a lot in our programs. And I first heard Todd Spencer, who's a veteran O-line coach. He and I worked together at 3 different schools. He's got a whole library of one-liners. But this is one that he had, and it really resonates with me. High expectations will not survive low standards. If we have high expectations, then we as leaders have to set and maintain standards to meet those expectations. So bold leaders hold people accountable. Much to the misunderstanding sometimes of a lot of people, holding someone accountable is a way to love them. It's not always interpreted that way. We have to reprimand a player. Sometimes I have to reprimand an assistant coach. I've got a chief of staff, Clayton Kendrick Holmes, who's been with me for several years. This is the second school we worked at. He's got a background as a head coach, very successful, and he reminds me, inspect what you expect. Inspect what you expect. What you expect, you better be inspecting all the time. And it's so true, he's right. And he reminds me of that. I'm glad I've got him as my right-hand man. We've got to be bold. Even bold enough, as the head coach, it's easy for me to tell somebody what needs to be done. It's much more difficult to do that in peer leadership. For our assistant coaches to do that, for an assistant coach to do that with me. Sean Saturnio is our special teams coordinator. He was just honored up here as the FBS Assistant Coach of the Year, and he deserves it. He earned it. He's a remarkable coach, remarkable guy. Our players and staff love him. But he holds me accountable, and I need it. I need that from him. I don't need a car dog. I need somebody to really tell me, and that helps me. That helps our entire team. Helps our team be better because he helps me be better. He reminds me of our values and our purpose when I get frustrated or discouraged, which I do. We all get frustrated and discouraged at times. He tells me when my actions and speech is affecting others negatively. And he loves me. And he loves our team. And he wants our team to be the best it can be. And so he wants me to be the best I can be for them. And you think that's easy? That's not. Now, he's my best friend. And we've known each other for all these 37 years that I've been in this profession. But he still comes to me and does that for me. That's a way for him to serve me. So it takes being bold and honest and humble and competent and communication skills to do it. But most importantly, we've got to be a servant leader. A leader has to have a servant's heart. Unfortunately, the world's gotten a head start on most of us. And it encourages us to be individuals, to look out for number one. And we see the word servant as something negative. But I've got a conviction that we were all engineered to serve others. And I fall far short of that. Compared to what I could be and what I could do. But there was a perfect example of servant leadership that lived on this earth 2,000 years ago. And I know that if I could become closer to that example in my development as a man and as a coach, I'd be much better at how I serve those I'm responsible to. He had a vision. He had integrity. He was a strong communicator. He was competent in his craft. was an example to those that he encountered. He was bold, and he served mankind by paying the ultimate price. He built a team of 12 ordinary men, and they changed the world. This is my 37th convention, and our game is changing, but it's never been more popular. So we've got to fight for this game. We got to fight so that it'll continue to be the great game that we love. I'm encouraging you to support this organization, the American Football Coaches Association, what it's become, the thousands of members. And support this organization along with your state and local organizations, the coaching organizations, so we can continue to grow the game and have a place for coaches to fellowship and learn and develop. And so I close again by just saying what an honor it is to be here, to be in front of this crowd. Coaches, my heroes. Thanks again to the American Football Coaches Association for the honor to be here today. I wish you great luck with all of your teams, and beat Navy.
When communication counts, trust the headsets trusted by the best. From high schools to the biggest college programs, CoachComm keeps coaches connected and teams prepared to win. Learn more at CoachComm.com.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Inside the Headset, presented by CoachComm. If you'd like to learn more about this week's episode, head over to AFCA.com. There, you can access every episode and find corresponding show notes. Remember, you can catch every episode of Inside the Headset, presented by CoachComm, on wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. While you're there, we'd love for you to take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Your feedback helps us improve and grow. Keep up with the latest news by following us on social media. Connect with us at Inside the Headset, and remember to tag us when you share your favorite episodes. For more updates on all things AFCA, be sure to follow the @WeAreAFCA social media accounts. If you're not a part of the AFCA community yet, visit AFCA.com to join thousands of NFL, college, and high school coaches nationwide and across the globe. Elevate your coaching game with an AFCA membership. You'll gain exclusive access to the annual AFCA Convention, magazine, digital library, and AFCA Insider email. Stay up to date with the latest stories and news on the AFCA website. More than just a convention, the AFCA offers continuous education, guidance, networking, and more. Celebrate the past and shape the future with the AFCA. It's about fostering exceptional coaches who create outstanding teams and even better individuals. Invest in your skills and make a lasting impact today by engaging with the AFCA. Your journey starts here.